The civil service exam involves three distinct stages: preliminary, mains, and the interview or personality test. Many resources discuss book lists and answer writing strategies, but understanding the exact syllabus is fundamental. The official syllabus can be found on the UPSC official website under the Civil Service Examination section, specifically within Active Examinations for the Civil Service Preliminary. There, candidates can access the official notice. It is highly recommended to read this notice, which is about 70 to 80 pages long, as it provides all necessary information about the exam. Stages of the Civil Service Exam. The examination consists of three main stages: preliminary examination, main examination, written examination, personality test, PT, or interview. The exam as a filter process. The preliminary stage primarily serves as a filter. Annually, around 14 lakh, 1.4 million people apply for the exam. From this large pool, approximately 14,000 candidates qualify for the written mains examination. Subsequently, about 2,500 candidates qualify from the written mains for the personality test. Ultimately, around 1,000 individuals achieve a final rank. This demonstrates the competitive and filtering nature of the initial stages of the examination. Preliminary examination. The preliminary examination is an MCQ, multiple choice question based objective type exam. It consists of two papers: General Studies, GS, Paper 1; CSAT, Civil Services Aptitude Test, Paper 2; General Studies, GS, Paper 1 Syllabus. The official syllabus for the GS paper covers several broad areas. Current events of national and international importance. This section covers significant developments and issues on both national and international levels, often encompassing international relations. History of India. This includes various periods of Indian history, specifically ancient history, medieval history, and the Indian national movement, which refers to modern history. Indian and world geography. This broadly covers physical, social, and economic geography pertaining to both India and the world. Indian polity and governance. The major focus here is on the Constitution of India, the broader political system, the functioning of Panchayati Raj, various aspects of public policy, and significant rights issues. The core idea is to understand the setup of the Indian political system. Economic and social development. This part primarily focuses on sustainable development, issues related to poverty, inclusion, and demographics. Beyond these, basic concepts of economics are also tested, particularly in the prelim stage. Candidates are expected to understand how basic economic indicators like GDP, gross domestic product, or fiscal deficit are calculated, including their fundamental formulas. General issues on environmental ecology. This section requires understanding of environmental and ecological concerns, but does not require subject specialization. The emphasis on environmental ecology is partly because the same preliminary examination is also conducted for the Indian Forest Service, IFS. General science. This area is largely current affairs related. For example, questions might arise on the latest advancements in artificial intelligence, AI, or recent developments in quantum computing, such as a chip like Microsoft's Morana 1, which could appear in a 2025 prelims exam. Basic scientific and technological developments in the current news cycle are expected to be known. GS Paper 1 details. Duration: 2 hours. Maximum marks: 200 marks. Number of questions: 100 questions. Marking scheme: each correct answer fetches 2 marks. For every incorrect answer, there is a negative marking of 0.67 marks, equivalent to 2 to 3 of a mark. No negative marking applies to unattempted questions. CSAT, Civil Services Aptitude Test, Paper 2, Syllabus. The second paper in prelims, CSAT, evaluates a candidate's aptitude and comprises the following areas. Comprehension. This involves English comprehension with questions often testing logical reasoning skills. Candidates might be asked to identify the correct assumptions, infer conclusions from a passage, or determine the core meaning of a passage. Communication skills. This also involves comprehension questions, but focuses on assessing understanding of the intent or underlying message of a text, and the ability to make logical assumptions based on the provided content. Logical reasoning. Separate questions are included to test logical reasoning. Examples include family relations type questions, e.g., determining relationships between individuals described. General mental ability. Basic numeracy. Questions here are generally of a class 10th level. However, there are instances where questions might be perceived as harder or beyond this stated level, which often leads to discussions and issues annually. Reviewing previous year CSAT papers can provide an idea of the general difficulty and level of questions. CSAT Paper 2 details. Maximum marks: 200 marks. Number of questions: 80 questions. Qualifying nature. CSAT is a qualifying paper. Qualifying marks. Candidates need to score only 33% marks to qualify. This translates to needing to score 67 marks out of the total 200 marks. Marking scheme. Each correct answer earns 2.5 marks. For every incorrect answer, there is a negative marking of approximately 0.87 marks, 2.53. No negative marking applies to unattempted questions. Main examination. The main examination has two parts, a written examination and a personality test. The written part is where answer writing and optional subjects become critical. Qualifying papers in mains. Before the weighted papers, there are two qualifying papers in the mains examination. One Indian language, chosen by the candidate, English language. These papers are designed to test basic language skills, including the ability to converse, understand written text, and demonstrate a comfortable level of proficiency in these languages. Candidates do not need to spend excessive time or effort on these papers if they are already comfortable with the languages. Details of qualifying language papers. Total marks per paper, 300 marks. Qualifying marks. Candidates need to score 25% marks to qualify, which means 75 marks out of 300. Indian language paper question types. Comprehension. A passage is provided, typically worth about 60 marks. Precise writing. Candidates are given a passage of approximately 600-700 words and must condense it to roughly 1/3 of its original length. Use and vocabulary. This section tests language proficiency through questions like synonyms or idioms. For example, if Hindi is the chosen language. Short essays. Candidates are required to write short essays, usually around 600 words, and this section is often worth about 60-70 marks. Translation. This involves translating passages from English to the chosen Indian language and vice versa. English language paper question types. Comprehension. Precise writing. Use and vocabulary. Short essays. Translation is not included in the English language paper as it primarily tests proficiency in English itself. These qualifying papers require only 75 marks out of 300. If a candidate understands these languages, they typically qualify without much difficulty. Weighted papers in mains. After the qualifying papers, there are 7 weighted papers, each carrying 250 marks. These 7 papers contribute to a total of 1750 marks in the mains examination. The weighted papers are essay paper, General Studies Paper 1, General Studies Paper 2, General Studies Paper 3, General Studies Paper 4, Optional Paper 1, Optional Paper 2, Essay Paper Details. In the essay paper, candidates are required to write 2 essays, each approximately 1,000 words long. The essay paper is not merely a test of writing a GS-type answer for 10 pages. It specifically assesses a candidate's communication skills and their ability to think clearly about particular topics and then present those thoughts effectively. Therefore, an essay is distinct from a general studies answer. General Studies GS papers breakdown. Each GS paper covers multiple subjects. General Studies Paper 1. History. This section expands upon the prelim syllabus by including 2 aspects unique to mains. World history. This topic is specific to mains only and not relevant for prelims. Post-independence history. This covers Indian history from 1947 to the present, and like world history, it is specific to mains only and not relevant for prelims. It also includes art and culture, ancient and medieval history, and modern history, Indian national movement, which are also covered in prelims. Society, Indian society. This entire section is specific and relevant to mains only. Geography. This includes Indian and world geography. General Studies Paper 2. Governance, constitution, polity, and international relations. These topics are common with the prelim syllabus. Social justice. This part is specific only to mains. Questions asked in this section are often very in-depth, unlike the level typically seen in prelims. General Studies Paper 3. Economic development, biodiversity and environment, science and technology. These subjects are covered in both prelims and mains. Internal security. This is a main-specific subject only. Disaster management. This is also a main-specific subject only. General Studies Paper 4. Ethics, integrity and aptitude. The entire paper is main-specific only and is not relevant for the prelims examination at all. Optional papers, Paper 1 and 2. Candidates have a choice of 40+ optional subjects. The list includes 25 to 26 subjects and over 20 literature subjects of various Indian languages. When choosing an optional subject, 2 primary criteria are usually considered: whether the subject was part of the candidate's graduation degree or if they have a strong interest in it. The availability of guidance for the subject, especially if it is not the candidate's graduation subject, e.g., a civil engineer choosing sociology. Candidates are expected to have an honors degree level of understanding in their chosen optional subject. This level of understanding is considered slightly higher than a bachelor's degree, but slightly lower than a master's degree. Personality test, interview. The personality test is the final stage of the civil service examination which candidates undertake after qualifying the mains written examination. Details of the personality test. Marks. The personality test carries 275 marks. Total marks for final merit. The mains written examination, 1750 marks, combined with the personality test, 275 marks, totals 2025 marks for the final merit list. Scoring example. In the Civil Service Exam 2024, the AIR All India Rank 1 Shakti Dub scored a total of 1043 marks. This score is just about 52 to 53% of the total 2025 marks. It's important to note that, unlike school exams, even perfect answers in UPSC exams might only fetch around 5, 5.5 or possibly 6 marks out of 10. Purpose and nature of the personality test. The personality test involves candidates being interviewed by a board which has access to the candidate's career record. The setting typically involves a panel with the UPSC chair and several other panel members, with the candidates seated opposite them. UPSC's official guidelines explicitly state that it is not a test of knowledge. The specialized or general knowledge of a candidate has already been assessed through the written papers. Instead, the interview aims to assess the candidate's mental alertness, powers of assimilation. This refers to the ability to extract the essence of what has been learned and understood and to explain it clearly to others. Clear and logical expression, balance of judgment, variety and depth of interest, ability for social cohesion and leadership. It is termed a personality test rather than a mere interview or viva, as the panel seeks to understand the candidate's personality and engage in a conversation. During the interview, it is much more important to be honest. If a candidate does not know an answer, stating "I do not know" is better than lying and is easily acceptable, as candidates are not expected to be encyclopedias. The panel expects honesty and a willingness to learn if something is unknown. Managing to be honest, mentally alert, and present in the moment can significantly aid a candidate's success in the civil service exam. Preparation, guidance, and challenges. The overall syllabus can seem overwhelming, especially for those without a humanities background, due to the large number of humanities subjects. A common challenge faced by candidates is forgetting previously studied subjects by the time they move on to new ones. Learning to deal with this often happens through trial and error, though guidance can provide a more structured approach. The basic book list, particularly NCERT's, remains consistent for exams in 2026 or 2027. The fundamental sources have not changed. It is emphasized that hard work and effort are indispensable and cannot be substituted by anyone else. A crucial piece of advice is to avoid shortcuts, especially at the beginning of preparation. Shortcuts are described as detrimental, as attempting to save hours can sometimes lead to wasting years through multiple attempts. It is recommended to read the books thoroughly and not to rely on shortcut notes for NCERTs.